Hey guys, this is National Master Kevin Yang with another video. This time we'll be talking about our second game against New LJ. So I played a second game, d4, d5, f4, knight f6. So I was sort of adopting I was practicing from the first video. Remember how I recommended this knight f6, bishop f5, e6 idea? Well, e3. Okay. So the The only problem with this setup is really just the exposing of the light squares, the exposing of this square, right? Maybe you can plop somebody on this square, but the main thing is really allowing my knight to get here, right? Knight f3, knight d7, e6, knight f6. Notice how I'm putting my bishop here, like as I said previously, right? Now, I have to say, g4 is a little bit of an inaccuracy, and here's a reason why. After knight takes, bishop takes, I'm going to play h5. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cement my pieces on the light squares. So after g5, knight e4, g6. Now this is a little bit of an inaccuracy again, because now, after pawn takes, knight takes, rook h6. Now this knight looks a little bit clumsy, right? It's sort of overextended. You know, this sort of g4 push made it that went a little bit too overboard. You know, it feels like right now I could compare it to as if, you know, the army was overextended and then one guy was left behind. And in this case, the knight was left behind, right? There's nobody else in the attack. You saw the pawn going up the board, you saw him going up the board, but now the knight's been abandoned. It's sort of like a one-man band, and all we know is that in a chess attack, a one-man band is not going to get the job done. It usually involves multiple pieces. So knight e5, bishop takes, pawn takes, rook check. I could have also played queen g5, right? Played rook check, king h1, queen h4. What I was intending is knight check. Bishop e1, wonderful move, right? I played queen g5 because I thought about it like this. If I play queen h3, queen f3 might come, and then my attack is sort of gone, right? So if I play queen g5, queen f3, well, this time I can castle queenside. My attack is still there. Bishop b4, I went back to queen h4. I thought, okay, I can make this check happen. Queen f7, knight g3, king g2, and I bet you my opponent didn't see queen e4. Very hard check, hard to miss, easy to miss, I mean. So it's not very easy in seeing these things. King h3, queen g4, bam, bam, and there will be checkmate, right? So really the moral of this game is that the light squares were the main factor in this game. You know, there was nothing wrong with White's play other than the fact that this light square granted me g4 was probably, if I had to say a game losing mistake, it'd have to be g4. It's sort of this one-man band gone wrong, but it didn't exactly take into effect. So g6 was another one of those, wasn't the best move, might have lost the game, those kind of moves, right? So after f takes, as I mentioned earlier, it's a one-man band. Knight e5, take, check, bring him in, and then Queen f7, of course, was the biggest game losing move, but I cannot blame my opponent because this is hard, right? It's hard to see these things. It's hard to see that, okay, there's a check. Really? This check works? Why can't I just take? But then you think, oh, there's a pin, right? So, all these things, that's what makes chess really hard, is number one, you have to calculate the variations. Number two, you have to think about, okay, what is my opponent going to do? That's the thing. You have to, when a player that's good at chess gets into your opponent's psyche and sort of knows what your opponent is going to do, that's a good chess player. Third, it's more of pursuing your own goals, right? If you're an indecisive person, if you are a player who will never achieve anything in any of the games you play, and you just keep drawing people, it won't work out either, right? If you don't ever win a game, you probably haven't attacked hard enough, or maybe you just played too many good players who straight out went for a draw. And so by going for these things, making these tough decisions, right? For the checks and the checks and the checks, right? It's really hard to see these things. That's what makes chess really hard. But I want the viewer to still enjoy the game. And that comes with um, just discovering your passion for the game. If you like it, that's great. If you don't, I wouldn't say quit it because it's a valuable game for you to learn, right? It's a life game. It sort of applies to life, right? If you ever lose material in a game, there's always a chance to rebound. So that's the thing. Second thing is, it's sort of parallel, right? Everybody says, quote, three-dimensional chess, but it's a lot more complicated than that. And what chess is it is a game that requires concentration, that requires the sort of, calculating the variation. It requires a deep sort of thought, right? So that's not easy. So I applaud for everyone out there getting their curiosity and having fun with the game. That's what's most important. That's what I want you to take away from this game. You might want to take away, let's say, the light squares, right? You see all my pieces are placed in light squares, all the attacking pieces. The reason being is that you see that black pieces are on dark squares. A lot of them are on dark squares, and I got to come in through the light squares. So that's an important strategic concept. Other than that, really, overextending, right? The one-man band can't sustain himself. So that was another one of those small mistakes. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you check out many of the other videos on my YouTube channel. And feel free to like, comment, and subscribe.